decades. My agent, Natasha Fairweather, has offered invaluable assistance, not least in placing this manuscript with Atlantic Books. At Atlantic, I am most grateful to my editor, James Nightingale, for his insight and understanding throughout the publication process. The greatest debts, of course, are always personal. My wife, Danielle, and daughters Isabel and Sophie have offered me unstinting love and support throughout the research and writing process. Meanwhile, my parents, who both passed away during the course of the writing of the book, always understood the value of education. It is to their memory that I dedicate this book. Introduction. It was the moment Gamal Abdel Nasser found his voice. Standing before a huge crowd assembled in Alexandria's Manshia Square on the 26th of July 1956, the Egyptian president spoke, not in the stiff and formal Arabic of his earlier speeches, but in the language of the masses. The tale he told was one of sacrifice to end injustice, of the triumph of the Arab spirit over the schemes of the British occupiers. As he spoke of his quest to free Egypt from grinding poverty and oppression through the construction of a mighty dam on the Nile at Aswan, an elite band of soldiers led by Major Mahmoud Yunus lay in wait outside the offices of that hated symbol of Western domination, the Suez Canal Company. And then, in the midst of an otherwise mundane passage in the speech about Nasser's meetings with the president of the World Bank, Eugene Black, came the code word. "I started to look at Mr. Black, who was sitting on a chair," Nasser observed. "And I saw him in my imagination as Ferdinand de Lesseps." As he uttered the name of the notorious French architect of the canal, Major Yunus and his men sprang into action, storming the company's offices. The Suez Canal now belonged to Egypt. Even this moment of high drama was not without its element of bathos. Worried that his men might have missed the code word, Nasser went on to repeat de Lesseps's name no fewer than 14 times in his speech. Even as the cheering crowds drained from the square at the end of the rally, an observer from the United States Embassy noted that something symbolic had been left behind. Standing forlornly amidst the detritus of the crowd was a float in rather questionable taste, depicting the Sphinx swallowing a British soldier with the Union Jack sewn on his derriere. When news arrived back in London of Nasser's coup, emotions ran high. Prime Minister Anthony Eden insisted that, whatever happened, the Egyptian dictator could not be permitted to have his hand on our windpipe. The man who Eden had earlier dubbed an Arab Mussolini must not be allowed to strangle Britain. The headlines in the London press told the same story, from the Daily Mirror, which proclaimed "Grabber Nasser," to the more sober Daily Telegraph. The papers, almost without exception, conjured the historical lessons of Hitler's and Mussolini's rise to power to explain Nasser's actions. A potent mixture of fear and anger drove the British response. How was it that the fate of the Suez Canal had come to assume such terrifying proportions in the British imagination? To understand this, we have to return to the crisis year of 1942. As Axis forces under Rommel stormed their way across North Africa, British defeat in Egypt seemed imminent. In February, the British ambassador, Miles Lampson, forced a change in Egypt's unsympathetic government at the point of a tank barrel, a humiliation which Egyptian army officers, Nasser included, would never forget. Then, in June, the British Imperial garrison at Tobruk surrendered. Such was the British anxiety that summer that the embassy in Cairo started to burn its sensitive files. The loss of Egypt, and with it the Suez Canal, threatened a calamity which would cut the British Empire in half. It was